because we have been in it together. This address provides a comprehensive account of FGhIE's current state, summarizing our current condition, achievements, challenges, and future aspirations. It presents key events of the institution, policies, projects, and initiatives undertaken over the past 2 years of my stewardship, while emphasizing strategic alignments with national and global engineering standards. And whilst preparing this, my mind was tuned to the gospel according to St. Matthew in chapter 25, verses 14 to 30. I will just summarize it. And this is a parable of the talents. I believe you remember that. It tells the story of a master who gave different amounts of money, which we refers to as talents, to his servants before going on a journey, expecting them to use and grow what they were given. 2 servants diligently invested their talents and doubled their amount, while the 3rd servant buried his talents out of fear, leading to the master praising the first 2 and harshly criticizing the last for not using what was entrusted to him. This highlights the message that we should actively use our God-given abilities to the best of our potential. So the institution was handed over to me in 2023. It was in a particular state, and I'll only mention a few, but it was not in red. Article 10.31F, which my student graciously read and mentioned that it is a shall, it is an obligation. Engineer Hesse and his team made sure that it was in the Constitution that in a 2nd term of office, the president shall give an account. So just like in that biblical parable that I read, I am going to give an account of what was given to me, the talents which were given to me. And here my talents were not just money, it included the people. What have I done with them? On March 26th, 2021, in Kumasi, you voted massively for me to steer the affairs of the institution for the 2023-2025 council year. Having worked in the shadows of Engineer Professor Charles Anum Adams, whom I know is online in Liberia, for 2 years, and learning so much on the job as president-elect. I was inaugurated as the 52nd president on 30th March 2023 at the Plush Western my mentor, Engineer Dr. Boache, past president, would always want us to start talking about finance, but permit me to change the narrative. If it is the corporate in my office, finance is number 1, because that is the driver of the company. But here, it is a little bit different. The vision. During my inaugural address, I highlighted my vision for the institution as follows. 1, to further our strategic plan, to support the growth agenda of the membership of the institution, bring all engineering practitioners under one umbrella, strengthen the secretariat to respond to membership issues, start processes for the acquisition of land for the development of an engineering resource center, remain relevant on national issues by ensuring our voices were heard and respected on national engineering and developmental matters, and to meet the UN's universal call to action in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. From the broad vision, I provided an action plan on how we were to achieve the stated vision. These are all documented in my inaugural address, and I do not intend to bore you with the detailed plans. However, our council set to work immediately upon returning to Accra and went for a retreat from 27th to 30th April 2023 at Akosombo. The outcome of this retreat, among others, was the adoption of strategic objectives for the council period. These strategic objectives were organized under 4 main thematic areas. 1, governance and institutional strengthening, society that is influencing public policy, membership, and welfare. Under these broad objectives, we developed various goals. And I would like to commend our immediate past executive director who worked assiduously to put these together. So under governance and institutional strengthening, I'm not going to read all. We had some areas or growth pools, strengthen branches, strengthen divisions, create new group of interest, create new affiliates, and the likes. Then under society and influencing public policy, we said we're going to develop position papers using think tanks, develop academia and industrial relations, support Engineering Council of Ghana, collaborate with relevant international bodies, engagement with government. Membership. To develop academia and academia industrial relations, and to develop position papers using think tanks, and also to increase our membership. I think I repeated that. On welfare, we decided that we were going to engage a legal firm, also to engage a labor consultant to deal with labor issues, social personal issues, and also engineering service providers. By way of institutional overview, Article 3 of the FGhIE Constitution states the objective and functions of the institution, which is to promote and advance the science and practice of engineering to the benefit of society in Ghana, Africa, and globally. And to achieve this objective, the institution collaborates with the Engineering Council, other statutory bodies, and other relevant organizations to undertake registration and regulation of engineering practice in Ghana, maintain professional standards in the practice of engineering, promote the welfare of members and registered entities, promote civic service, and promote and recognize excellence in the science and practice of engineering. And our core values as an institution are excellence in engineering practice, integrity and accountability, commitment to public welfare. The Ghana Institution of Engineering has prioritized developing, reviewing, and implementing policies and strategic objectives to strengthen governance, promote compliance. Sorry. Today I have been talking a lot. I was in a 3-hour site meeting. They make me talk, sir. Sorry. Below is an update of the status of key policies and initiatives. So with the legal and compliance framework, we have a legal obligations register. This document is essential for ensuring compliance with all necessary legal requirements. It is reviewed annually with legal experts providing guidance to maintain up-to-date adherence to the regulations. Branding and communication. We have, as an institution, branding guidelines and manual. This is a comprehensive manual primarily for use by the Secretariat. It includes restricted templates such as letterheads and accessible resources like PowerPoint templates and logos available to members through their portals. We also have the FGhIE profile, which has been updated is updated at the beginning of every council year period. The FGhIE profile is available on the institution's website to provide an overview of its objectives and activities. Digital and administrative systems. We have a staff portal. I'm not going to read all that because of time. Examinations portal. We have a member portal. We also have risk and continuity planning, a risk management plan, a succession plan, business continuity plan. What are the new initiatives that we have made during this council year? And I say we, as a council. We have established the FGhIE fund. This is a proposal. This proposal has been approved by council. And our main aim is to ensure that we have funds for financial sustainability of the institution. You know, the last time when we had floods, you know, in the Volta region as a result of spillage, we were going around looking for money. But then if we had a fund like this, we could have gone in to take money for undertaking humanitarian activities. So this is one important factor for establishing that fund. We are also in the process of establishing an alternative dispute resolution center. This will support conflict resolution for engineering related disputes. We also have what we call the FGhIE Industrial Placement Program. With this proposal's approval, the implementation will provide practical training opportunities for engineering students and professionals. And the flagship one, engineering village at Asin Kushia. We have been able to acquire the land, and I'm sure you'll be showing some pictures very soon. We have acquired the land. It's a 10-acre land. We have registered it, properly registered it, and a project scheme has been presented to members. This initiative is to develop a hub for engineering, innovation, and collaboration. And when we get there, we'll show you, some more details. We also started what we call the History of Engineering and Engineering Museum proposal. I think that my boss, Engineer Sareboa, may have started this sometime in 1995, thereabouts. In going through the records, I thought that it was good that we reactivate that program. I don't know whether he was the one, but then I saw some interviews. I did a research and saw that. And therefore, we have engaged one Professor Wazi Apo, who is currently developing this, and we need to follow up. So, Mr. President-elect, that has to be followed up so we can finalize and implement this significant project. Furthermore, as an institution, we have managed to develop various policies to guide our operations. These policies have been approved by council, and they are as follows. The Code of Ethics, which has been reviewed and reprinted to guide ethical practices within the profession. Our welfare policy has also been reviewed with reprinting pending. I think that even on Wednesday, we did some tweaks to the policy. The mandate of authority, our finance manual, and earmarked accounts policy. And I'll be showing how far or how much we have raised so far. These policies are finalized and operational. Recognition and awards policy. This will be communicated to members and published on the website. Sexual harassment policy. This has also been presented to council and has been approved. I think this was also approved only a few days ago. Pardon me. Yesterday. Oh, today is Thursday. It feels like. Anyway, conflict of interest policy. Currently under council, I think that also has been approved. Diversity, equity, and inclusivity policy. This policy has also been approved. So we have approved quite a number of policies. These policies and initiatives continue to support the FGhIE's commitment to advancing engineering excellence, fostering inclusivity, and ensuring operational resilience. The institution aims to complete pending tasks and implement approved proposals to achieve its strategic objectives. Now let us look at the updates on staffing levels and recruitment. The institution has made key updates to its staffing and organizational structure. And the highlights include 2 new positions have been introduced to strengthen operations. One, the Director of Operations, the Director of Professional Practice and Director Membership Services. We have received some, we have, I think, about 6 or so people who we are going to interview and for these positions. Some applications have been received, and we formed a committee to do that. In terms of recruitment, efforts are ongoing to fill these newly created roles, as I have just said. Organizational changes. A new organogram has been implemented to enhance clarity in reporting lines. Unfortunately, we lost a member, a very hard-working member, Mr. Frederick Okai, who I worked with, at the membership institution, and his contributions were deeply valued, and he will be remembered for his dedication and service. And with your indulgence, I would like us to observe a minute's silence in memory of Mr. Frederick Okai. Please, shall we be upstanding? May the soul of our departed brother and member of our institution, Mr. Frederick Okai, rest in perfect peace. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Leadership change. Our executive director, very hardworking and excellent one at that, this had a higher calling. And with this calling, he had to make way. Therefore, he honorably resigned, making way for us to bring one. Well, okay, he says, I remember when I called him, he said, Kwabena, I'm an old man, I'm resting in my place. But since he has not joined the land of the spirits, we asked him to come back to Macedonia and help. And Engineer Samuel Magnus Asiedo, SMA, is currently the acting executive director. And our immediate past executive director, Engineer David Kwetia Nyante, is here. Please, shall we put a hands for them? Thank you very much for your service to the institution. Council elections 2025-2027. The electoral process, which had a little bit of hitch, is currently ongoing. We initially opened nominations from November 30th to January 31st, 2025, but we would have to extend by, I think, about 3 weeks, and it ended on 24th February 2025. The process has now moved to the reviewing and validation of submissions, after which eligible candidates will be finalized, and the electoral calendar, I believe we also talked about it yesterday, but then we have left that to the elections committee to work on it. So I will not talk too much about that. And my prayer is that the best candidates would win. Now let us look at our progress updates by way of our strategic goals, which we started with. Promoting sustainable and resilient engineering practices. We organized the first ever building technology fair to showcase alternative housing technologies that address challenges in affordability and sustainability. And this was a prelude to my presidential address, which was on the same topic. We also advocated for engineering-led solutions to national issues, including flood preparedness, procurement reforms, and resource management. And as, again, Dr. Kwame Boachi would say, without engineering, Ghana, and for that matter, Africa, is going nowhere. Advanced discussions and partnership to support renewable energy adoption and resilient infrastructure development. The second pole, driving membership growth and diversification. Our membership, by the grace of God, increased from 10,890 to 11,708, with a focused effort to engage underrepresented groups, including technologists and technicians, with members in good standing, also moving from, unfortunately, 3,224 to 6,000. Well, I said unfortunately, but then what I meant was that the numbers were too small, looking at the percentages, just around 48 or so percent. We also partnered with Fabric Metal to train 405 craftsmen in Kaswa, Takrady, and Tamale. Our welfare policies, as I have already mentioned, have been revised to address the needs of diverse member categories better, member categories better, and improving engagement and inclusivity. So we have the list. We have 149 fellows, 1,436 senior professional engineers, 4,095, and goes all the way down, with our engineering craftsmen having a number of 1,284. And we can see the movement. Strengthening public advocacy. We hosted dialogues on policy issues such as EVATs, taxation, lithium mining, and procurement reforms. We also published position statements on rebar quality standards, flood preparedness, and engineering ethics to influence national policies. We promoted the role of engineering in national development through our manifesto series. And maybe just to digress a little bit on manifesto series, we prepared a document just, I think, sometime in November, December, and then we had, November, July, yeah. But then in November, we had some meetings with the various political parties. We were at the various radio and TV stations to digress on this. But one very important thing is that we gave copies of these policies to all the political parties, and we asked them to freely implement them in their manifestos. And that is what we call the manifesto series. This is a way to shape or help shape national policy, especially on engineering issues. And at the time, we dealt with only 4 thematic areas. We also have leveraged technology and innovation. We operationalized the AI examination portal, which reduced delays and increased transparency in the certification process. We expanded the member portal, providing members easier access to services, including subscription renewals and event registration. We also improved institutional processes through digital tools, enhancing efficiency in member services. Third one, strengthening international collaborations. We represented FGhIE at international conferences, including the World Engineering Day in Lisbon, Portugal, and other centers. Of course, we've been to Nigeria, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Kenya, and all these, Angola, just name them. We've been there. And the name of FGhIE has been promoted wherever we have been. We also supported the participation of women in engineering in all major events. And with pride, today, the WE, that is the World, the Women in Engineering of the World Federation of Engineering, is hosted in Ghana by our own president. I don't see her. Oh, Dr. K. Yes, Dr. K. Dr. Kwabena, Kwabena is, and then we also have the Federation of African Engineering Organizations. That's FGhIE. We have, I don't know where, I thought Na was also around. Okay, Na Lamkai is probably she's online. So this is something that is very great, for us as an institution going forward. Now, improving governance and institutional policies. I've mentioned some of the policies already, and that we have approved constitutional amendments to enhance governance, inclusivity, and representation. And we've talked about the policies that we have drafted. This is all towards the improvement of governance and institutional policies of the FGhIE. And as I mentioned earlier on, we've also updated the Code of Ethics. Global representation. We represented Ghana at international conferences, which I've also mentioned, but this is a special one, enhancing FGhIE's visibility and influence. And we have strengthened ties with global engineering bodies, fostering opportunities for knowledge sharing and collaboration. We supported members' participation in the following conferences and events: the Transportation Research Board Annual Meeting Conference in Washington, D.C., USA, the World Engineering Day, as I'd already mentioned, in Lisbon, Portugal, 2024, Sierra Leone Institution of Engineers Biennial Conference, the Global Engineering Conference on Sustainable Development and World Federation of Engineering Organizations Executive Committee meetings in Kigali and Rwanda, 2024 in Nigerian Society of Engineers Conference, and many more, which I've already mentioned. Now, let us go on to program and events. During the council year, we organized a number of programs and events, and I'll outline some of the flagship ones for our information. The Building Technology Fair was organized from January 28th to 29th, and I will not go into the details because I've already mentioned that. The presidential address and some of the pictures there will show, highlight what happened on those days. Engineering Games and Golf Tournament. The annual conference, that is the 2024 annual conference and AGM from March 18th to 23rd. And the theme was Engineering a Resilient Future, Innovative Solutions for a Sustainable Ghana. And I want to just read this one. This was held from the 18th to 23rd March at the Fiesta Royale Hotel. And our guest speaker, the venerable lawyer, Sam Okujetu, and it's Ya here. Yeah, I'm not saying Ya Okujetu Ablakwa, okay, because we don't have oral cavities, at the institution. He observed that looking at the profiles and specialization of engineering practitioners within our country, it looked like there was nothing, there was no problem we can do, or there's nothing that we can do without engineering. I was going to problem, those fearsome four believed that there was no problem in mathematics that they couldn't solve. And I'm talking about good old men, Engineer Asariabua and Dr. Boachi. So he reiterated, he's a lawyer. And remember that lawyers, they are learned. They call themselves learned. They are in the past. Please don't tell them they are in the past. But we are learning. Engineers, we are learning. It's a learning profession. If you stay as an engineer in the past, you are finished. So he therefore admonished engineers, and I want to admonish all of us to be bold and courageous so that politicians do not push us around. And I think that there's a biblical reference there to be bold and courageous. So please, let us be bold and courageous. Then we also had the inaugural lecture by Professor Douglas Boatin in May, that is May 30th. The institution had signed a memorandum of agreement with Professor Douglas Boatin, a renowned international chartered director and industrial engineer, and instituted the FGhIE / Professor Douglas Boatin annual lectures. The inaugural lecture, which was sponsored, I must say fully sponsored by Professor Boatin, as I've mentioned, was held on 30th May 2024 on the theme Engineering, Industrialization, After, and Strategic Sourcing, the Inextricable Links, which focused on leveraging engineering, industrialization, the after, expedited growth in Ghana and the continent at large. I've also mentioned the FGhIE Manifesto series, where we focus on illegal mining, energy, urban planning, and transport. I've already mentioned that. Then we also had an ethics lecture. Lawyer David Ofosu-Dorte delivered the 2024 ethics lecture on 31st October 2024, themed. We have very interesting themes at the institution. Redesigning Africa's transportation. Let me take it again slowly this time. Redesigning Africa's transformative polygon. Transformative polygon. But those of you who attended knew what that polygon was. But this one focused on integrating ethics, engineering, law, and finance to promote resilience and sustainability. Remember the issue about resilience and sustainability. Very, very keywords. Of course, the previous year, our own engineer Yao in Sako also delivered on improving national, you're already laughing, improving national values, professional practice, and engineering ethics. This happened on October 28th, 2023. Then we also had a sponsors soiree on November 7th, 2024. We have been supported immensely by a number of individuals and organizations. We therefore organized a soiree to acknowledge our sponsors and to appreciate their efforts. Because you know that when you do that, you can go back to them and ask for more. The Ghana have a saying that I don't mean those who don't understand that if you ask a fool to carry a load, you have to have some appellations. Or that is the appellations. According to the wedding, then the more will be done. So this is what we are doing. And Dr. Boache, I'm not saying anything. I'll come there very soon. But he has done something significant for the institution, and I'll talk about it when I get there. And you see, I must mention, for instance, this thing that we find here. Somebody gave me money to get it. This is not coming from our capital expenditure. All this room, the lights, and they came from sponsors. We didn't have to go to our capital fund, to get it done. The lift out there, the structure. I got 2 people to give me money for the structure. And engineer professor, hey, I'll give you, take it. Dr. Boache, after, I think we did something here. Was it a soiree? The soiree. And I am an engineering marketer and an entrepreneur. So I took the opportunity to talk about the fact that those days I saw one of our past presidents, and actually 2 of them. He was so diligent, and every time he had to come here, he had to be carried. I felt that was not right. For an institution of engineering with a hall like this, not being disabled friendly was a no-no. And he caught the vision. And as I speak, if you also catch the vision, please feel free to come forward. We'll pray for you. So he has agreed to give us a huge sum of money, over $20,000. He's already given me $20,000, and I paid for the lift. It has been shipped, and very soon we will install it. The building is already complete. That is the kind of service that we are looking for, and we are very much appreciative. So please, those of you who have, I've not said deep pockets, even the middle level pockets, if you can give 10,000, 5,000, it is all good for the institution. And of course, yours truly has also done his own part, but you see, I cannot blow my own horns. And my institution, my company has also done so much. So let's put our hands together for our board chair. You see, once I do that, then the board chair will give us more. Now let us go to our engineering projects. You see, nowadays I want to be looking at myself like Donald Trump. I like to make deals. No, deals. I said deals. I don't fire. But then if you fall on the wrong side, I'll fire you. So we have what we call the engineering village. And I want to take time to talk about the engineering village because this is one of my flagship or our flagship projects. Because without the support of the institution, this wouldn't have been a reality. So I'm very grateful to my council members and the institution because all that we have done is that we've gone to the institution. But then I had one chief, Nanapra Ajinsem, the state, who gave us a gift of 10 acres land. And that is the land there. In engineering, we want to put everything on paper. So that is the land. We were there. We've done the survey. That is the land documentation. That was the signing of the agreement. It was also in the papers. Everything. So in the future, nobody comes and say that, he said he'll give it to you. This one, we have documentary evidence. So this evidence is there for our saying. So as I said, the land has been registered. We have plans, and I'll be showing more of the thing. We have, you see, we've gone very far. We have plans that includes an industrial park, a museum, an eco park, workshop, conferencing facilities, offices, and hostel. And on the 19th of December, 2023, and this is where I talk about the institution, we presented these initial designs to members. The new designs, please roll them, are yet to go back because initially it was just the initial planning. But we've gone ahead to develop these sketches, if I'll put it, or the initial ideas. So incubation zone, accommodation zone, education center. Please just move on quickly. So this is your engineering village. That will happen very soon. I know engineer, my president-elect has part of his agenda for the 2025-2027 council year. He has put it on the agenda, and that is a very good, sign. That is the entrance. There is a great hall, auditorium, the multi-purpose exhibition space. This is our library building, administrative building, and many more, So I will just move on, but then he can continue showing that. So we have currently completed a brochure. This is I think, 66-page brochure, which we will go to town to look for sponsorship. Somebody can come and say, I'm taking that building, and it's going to happen because every great thing starts with an idea. This was an idea that we had as a seed. We gave it to the councillors. They have watered it, and now this is what we are saying. Very soon, we will bring it out, and it will bear fruits. Also, I've talked about the facility upgrades, the LED screen, and also outside there, we've done a great a gatehouse, and then changing. These were all done money from sponsors, and I must reiterate, money from sponsors. Those who are wondering, and the president will say that he has used all the money. But let me say something, just a little bit of digression. I was telling my boss today, I was watching TV this afternoon in the office, and they were saying, in this life, you can have debt, okay, or you can have money, but you can convert that money into an asset. If you convert it to an asset, do you expect to have the money still sitting there? So please, let us be. Yes, but at least we've done something. It's not that somebody was complaining. You Ghanaians, what is wrong with you? The former sports minister was said to have taken $30,000 or so in President Kufuor. Say, you Ghanaians, what is wrong with you? We will chop a whole budget. We chop a whole budget, but this one, only 30,000 are complaining. But I'm not saying that you should do that. Now let us go to the finance. The institution has ensured financial stability by actively seeking sponsorship for every event organized during the reporting period, including the annual conference, Engineering Excellence Award, Manifesto Series, and Ethics Lecture. So just to give you a summary of our financials, our actual income grew, and please don't worry about it's in cedi. Maybe in dollar term, it's nothing, so don't worry about it. From 5 million to 7.7 million cedis, and over 85% of the 2024 budgeted income was achieved through membership subscriptions, event sponsorship, earmark funds, and other streams. Sponsorship covered major events, including the presidential address, annual conference, and all that I had mentioned. Then I also want to mention the 10% earmark funds, which is very, very important. You know, we currently have 3, the welfare fund. So 10% of our subscriptions go into the welfare fund. So that has grown from 275.8 thousand cedis to 409,000 cedis. And then the capital investment, 275.8, that has also gone to the same. So you can see that they are all 10%. So it's the same for all. And then for the branch activities. We also finalized the FGhIE fund, which I've also mentioned, to provide long-term funding for, so here I'm still talking about fundraising initiatives, to provide long-term funding for projects like Engineering Village and Industrial Placement Program. We've also improved member subscription renewals through digital tools, increasing compliance and revenue. We established innovative sponsorship models to ensure consistent funding for events and projects. So what is the future? We want to diversify income. And here I'm speaking on behalf of the future. The future is with our president-elect, Engineer Ludwig. Today I'm not mentioning your name. Engineer Ludwig Annan Hesse. Thank you very much. He was my boss, so, you know, in the membership committee. So those of you who want to become president, please join the membership committee. Diversify income streams through partnership with industries and government. Increase member subscription, compliance to sustain operational funding. Fully operationalize the FGhIE fund to finance strategic initiatives. Capital intensive projects such as facility upgrades and all that to be handled through a combination of capital expenditure budgets and dedicated sponsorship. The EMF funds continue to grow, ensuring resources for strategic initiatives. Members are encouraged to regularize their membership and renew subscriptions to sustain the operations in FGhIE. Statutory fees, such as membership levies to the Office of the Registrar of Companies. If you don't know that, we do pay. And also to the Engineering Council. Engineering Council, okay, Registrar, haven't we been paying? Yes, thank you very much. We are also exploring innovative strategies to strengthen financial sustainability. And this is very important. We need to find more innovative ways of getting more monies into the institution. Because the institution does not run on water that is freely available, but we need cash. So those of you who think you do not have middle, I don't want to talk about middle P pockets, the middle pockets, please. And you start by paying your subscription. Membership welfare. The institution revised the welfare membership, the welfare policies to better address membership needs. We facilitated access to international conferences. We conducted professional examination for 604 candidates in this, that is last year, supported by the AI-driven examination portal. And I must mention that my successor, Engineer Professor Bekwe is doing, Amoku Bekwe, sorry, is doing very well. We've also inducted 568 new members through 4 ceremonies in 2024. We've organized technical training and workshop as well as leadership and governance workshop to equip members. Sorry. To equip members for emerging challenges, contributions to industry or public welfare. And these are all based on the strategic objectives that I mentioned earlier. We've hosted dialogues on EVAT taxation, lithium mining. I've mentioned all of these. Published statements on rebars, flood preparedness, and all that. And of course, when our Ashanti Regional ECG manager was mistreated, we had a word or two to say. Constitutional amendments. During the annual general meeting of March 30th, 2023, members approved key constitutional amendments to enhance governance, inclusivity, and member engagement. The changes included updates to align with member needs and formalize organizational groups for advocacy and representation. We have initiated, and I think that I can say that we have now almost completed the amendment of our bylaws, which key among them is the recognition of 2 groups of strategic interest, that is WINE and FGhIE, that is women in engineering and youth in engineering. They are now officially part of the Council of the Ghana Institution of Engineering. I think that would deserve a hand of applause. Now, what does the future hold? Strategic focus areas. The institution's key priorities for the next period include our project completion, which I've said that the president-elect is seriously looking at that. So that includes our village and also the ADR center. Our policy implementation, we've developed the policies. It is not enough developing them. It is good and more appropriate when they are implemented. And that reminds me, today when I was on site, I was talking to the project manager of the contractor. He says that we have provided them with all PPEs. I said, providing them is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for using them. So that is what we want. We need to use the policies. And we need to roll out these policies and ensure governance frameworks are regularly reviewed and updated for accountability. In terms of professional development, there's a need for us to expand training programs to address emerging topics like AI, renewable energy, and infrastructure resilience. And the last but not the least is to increase certification opportunities through our AI examination portal to support professional growth. What are the opportunities that await us? Global collaboration. We need to leverage international partnership, enhance capacity building, and facilitate knowledge sharing. To host regional and global conferences to position FGhIE as a leader in engineering innovation. Youth development. To launch the industrial placement program to equip young professionals with industry-ready skills. To implement mentorship programs to guide early career engineers and foster leadership skills. Public advocacy promotes engineering solutions for national challenges, including energy, urban planning, and infrastructure development. And Engineer Hesse, there's going to be a dialogue which I mentioned to you on infrastructure development. And can you imagine those who were there? I hope you can imagine. Politicians, lawyers, and no key professional in infrastructure development. But luckily, I have a lawyer friend. He called me that he looked at the list and didn't see our name. So he asked that I should be part of it. And this is something that we need to publicly advocate for. Because, and this, it depends on us. If you just think that, what would the institution do for me, as some of us ought to say, nobody would care about you. There are a lot of competing needs. So this is a challenge to all our engineering practitioners. Please stand up and be counted. Be bold and courageous. Seek leadership positions. It is very important because it is not enough for you. You know, some of us think that, oh, FGhIE, what are they doing for us? What are you doing for yourself? Okay, I want to preach, but let me move on with my printed or my text. What are some of the challenges? Obviously, there are challenges. You know, during the reporting period, FGhIE encountered low engagement, and this is what I was talking about in specific membership categories. We are how many thousand? How many of us are here? Even if you add those who are online, we will not be up to 300. This is unbecoming of us. The apathy must stop. There is the need for us to take, of course, we also have funding challenges. I've talked about funding a lot, even though I didn't start with funding. We need FGhIE, we need FGhIE, we need KUDI, whichever language you want to talk about. We need funding of all our programs and projects. If we had some $2 million, I'm sure some of the projects that we want to do, we would have started and be moving at a very fast pace. Dr. Boachi, Asamaba wo kan bebrebe te ekaba. You see, so wait, sometimes we talk, but you know, engineers, we like to talk. But when it comes to money, then we chicken out. I don't think this is something that we should do. What are the actions that we have taken? And to address these issues, the council launched targeted outreach programs to engage underrepresented groups, emphasizing the importance of inclusivity and professional development. Sponsorship are actively pursued to reduce financial burdens associated with events and projects. Furthermore, digital transformation initiatives, streamlining processes, and enhancing service delivery have improved operational efficiency. What are the planned strategies looking ahead? I've mentioned this. I intentionally decided to keep on mentioning them so that when you go, don't say Okasapa. You said you mentioned the things that I repeated. We need to launch our FGhIE fund to secure sustainable financing for major projects and initiatives. Membership recruitment efforts will be expanded to ensure a diverse and robust membership base. The institution will also intensify public advocacy for engineering-driven policy solutions to strengthen the profession's impact on national development. This is our call to action. FGhIE, your FGhIE, my FGhIE, those who have gone and are in the land of the spirit, and those who have gone to join our ancestors are looking forward to you and I to change the narrative. There's a need for us to participate actively in our programs and initiatives. We need to share constructive feedback to improve institutional operations and contribute to achieving the shared goals of the engineering community. Members' involvement remains crucial to the success of the institution's strategic objectives. The institution also invites stakeholders and partners to collaborate on key projects such as the ADR Center and the Engineering Village. These partnerships are essential to driving progress, innovation, and sustainable development within the engineering sector. In conclusion, FGhIE affirms its commitment to promoting sustainable growth, advancing innovation, and maintaining excellence in engineering practice. Through collective efforts and a shared vision, FGhIE, the Ghana institution of engineering. We will continue to drive transformative solutions that support Ghana's development and make a global impact. Thank you very much for your audience.
I think he deserves another round of applause. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. That was quite an engaging presentation. And I think for a lot of us, there's so many key points that we take away from today's presentation. For those who are joining us online, those who are here, I think currently we have 236 participants online. When we started, we were only 38. We're grateful for those who joined us so far. And I'm sure once we count, we are numbering close to about 400 people who are here. Based on this representation, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who have questions that would require answers from this presentation. But just to recap on some of the key things that our president has talked about, I think the two major things that I took away from today's presentation is we looked at member engagement and finance, two key things that we need to go back and think about. And in looking at member engagement, he reminds us of why we are members of the institution, why we need to continue to participate in the key things that we have. I applaud Mr. President and the Council for the numbers and the improvements in growth at the institution, even though we know that we can do better than those numbers. But we've seen significant numbers in the professional membership, those who've been inducted in the last few years. We're grateful for the constitutional amendments that we've seen in your tenure. And the things that are coming out of the constitutional amendments, we hope that once we transition, we would also see further growth in those amendments as well. The strategic focus you talked about, and we're proud of, when I was looking at the pictures of the FGhIE project, I thought to myself that if we really can implement these things, it puts us at the forefront of telling the world, telling Ghanaians that we are here for serious business and we're not joking. So, Engineer President-elect, you have a daunting task ahead, but one that I'm sure that with the support of your members, you cannot fail to achieve. So thank you, Engineer President, for pushing this and propelling it and then giving it over to Engineer President-elect to move to greater heights. The challenges, I think we can't overlook. The low engagement and the funding constraints that we face as an institution is something that we would all look at. And then finally, when you were talking about call to action, you again reminded us to be full participants in issues of the institution. And there are times when those of us on council, we get calls and get told off, so to speak, that what are you guys really doing? And then when you tell people, well, there are these opportunities for you to put your points across and speak to the issues, when that time comes, we can't find the people. So you have issues, you have things on your heart you want to share, but when the time comes for us to raise our hands and discuss these issues, we can't find the people to speak. So today is an opportunity. You've listened to the president talk about the state of the institution. For those of us who are here, those of us who are online, I want to encourage us to put our questions across. So we would break into a very brief but poignant question and answer period. I will dedicate to 6:30 right now. I will dedicate the next 15 minutes to question and answers. After this 15 minutes, if we are not satisfied and we will need to add an additional 5 minutes, we will do that. But certainly in the next hour, at the top of the hour at 7 p.m., we would like to close this program. So for the next 15 minutes, I will need someone to help. Those who are monitoring the online participants, please let us see if people have raised their hands so that we acknowledge their questions as well. There are questions in the chat. They can put their questions in the chat box as well. And then we have 2 microphones. I'll keep one on the left, one on the right for us to ask our relevant questions. Please remember, we only have 15 minutes. Keep your questions very brief. And we will take 3 questions at a go and then have the president answer those questions. So kindly put your hands up if you have any questions. I will stand here to moderate the question and answer period. And then we would also take those online. Oh, okay. 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 So we would also want to see the screen for the online participants, so then it makes it easier for us to interact with them as well. And in your, okay, we have, okay. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. For those online, to help with identifying who you are, if you only have your mobile phone numbers or whatever online, kindly change that quickly to your your name that is recognizable by FGhIE. So please do that whilst we take a question from the floor.
Okay, Engineer Bempong, I would like to commend you for a brilliant speech. The engineering village picture you showed us with different zones. The most important zone perhaps in there is the innovation zone, to my mind. We know that civil engineering or the Ghana Institute of Engineering has been biased towards civil engineering. It's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault, but that's the reality. So they have dwarfed all the other, all the other sections. Now, how are we going to make sure that if we are having this engineering, this innovation zone within that engineering village, we will be deliberate enough to make the other sections also shine within the engineering zone?
Okay, that's one question. Engineer President, please take notes. We'll take 2 more questions so you can address them all together. Anyone else with a question?
Okay, thank you. This is a comment, and let me say you've proved to be a very safe pair of hands. Thank you. On the FGhIE fund, I'm very happy to note that you started a fund. What I've learned from other institutions elsewhere is you calculate the amount of money that you need to have in that fund to be sustainable, so that the interest will be able to take care of your normal needs. And then you put that as your target, and then you have guidelines for spending money. So it's only when you have a certain amount of money that you can then start to spend. And of course, you do that conservatively. And so that's a suggestion. Another suggestion is young engineers. Elsewhere, I've heard they don't want to hear the name young. Maybe you may need to consider this early career future leaders or something. So that's just for you to consider. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, the last speaker has come over. The mic, so he has to talk.
Okay.
Well, I know that engineering covers a whole spectrum, from craftsmen, technicians, technologists, and professional engineers. But I was looking at the data, the statistics. we seem to be having a challenge with getting the technicians to join our institution. And I know Ghana's country has set up, at least for now, 10 technical universities. Are we making any overtures to the technical universities so we can maybe recruit or engage technicians who come out of there?
Okay. So great, thank you. Engineer President, just so it doesn't become convoluted, I'll let you address those two questions and then you can also comment on that.
Well, before I go on, I wanted to make some acknowledgements. I don't know whether Bartels is here. Bartels, where is he? He's downstairs. Okay. In preparing this address, you know, it's not easy. You can know. I was telling somebody that my presidency came in at a point when I was just made the CEO of my company. I was handling about 4 major road projects as either the chief resident engineer or the project director. So you can imagine, I don't sleep at all. My wife knows I come home very, very late. But you see, I've been working. I've not been going to the drinking spots. So please, let her be aware. The good news is that I also have some, you see, wherever I go, I have bosses. Then they are all females. At home, that's my boss. When I go to the office, where's my boss? My boss, Nanekia. And then at the institution, my vice president is also a female. So I'm surrounded. I cannot be naughty. But to your question, while sitting down there, we were saying that is the old narrative. You know what? My counselor is here, Dr. Bekwe. At the moment, I think electrical and then mechanical, they are almost overtaking civil. So probably it had to do with the numbers then, numbers which were graduating, and also the willingness to come forth and take leadership positions. But I can tell you that it has changed. If you look at the role, you know, there have been a lot of arguments, but I want to disabuse the minds of everybody. Go to the role of presidents. Count, yes, we have many civil, but then go and count the electrical and count the mechanical. They are all there. Only that because they still not, you know, the civil people, we are civilized. And therefore, no offense to those mechanical, I know Prof, there's Prof, but that is just a joke, okay? So please, that has changed. But then there's also one interesting thing. Michael Dede, is he here? He's, okay. Michael Dede is a mechanical engineer, and he is the project manager for the engineering resource center, or the engineering village as we call it. And I remember he has put in welding, this carpentry in the workshop, the innovative workshop, so that people who have ideas can go there and probably build prototypes of those ideas. So be assured that whatever we are doing there is catering for the entire value chain of engineering. That's why we don't call it a civil engineering village. It is engineering. Engineering is the key of development, FGhIE. The next one, the overtures to the technical universities. My vice president, my boss, says that they are now churning out degree holders. We don't have those technicians and everything. But then we had a collaboration with GIZ or GIZ, okay? And we have been bringing in the TVET, you know, people to be part of, and that's what we call the craftsmen. Now we have craftsmen, the carpenters, the masons, the steel benders, the welders, they are all supposed to be part of us. So we have not left anybody. I remember the fabric metal thing that I shared. We went round. I myself, I was in Tamale to, bring these guys into our institution. And now we have over 1,200 or 1,400 members as part of our institution. And we have craftsmen and technicians sitting on our council. They are council members. So please, that narrative has changed. Only what? Okay. Then the issue that you raised, Engineer President Carlin, and for now, today I was telling you, it was Engineer Carlin. I remember if sometime back in the ED's office, he said you have to be a fellow. I said, oh, me, I want to just do the work. And she insisted that I become a fellow. And today, because if you don't become a fellow, you cannot be a president. So I thank you very much, for encouraging me. And there are many people. Dr. Bekwe, he ensured that I took the forms to become president. I said, look, I'm busy. I can't become president. But the Lord has been good, as you can see. It's only the idle hands that the devil finds work for. Okay, yes, sorry, your time. When I get into my elements, young engineers, okay, we've heard that. Salaries, the next president has as part of his agenda to deal with that. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll take some questions from the chat room and then 3 more questions from the floor and then cap up there. So if you can open up the chat box. I know most of them are not questions per se, but so it says question. I'm happy that, okay, so can we go to the top? Can we scroll up to the top so we don't miss? And Engineer President, I would read 3. I'll read 3 from here as well. So please take note. One more question up. Okay, so the first question is Engineer A. Yes, okay. So the welfare of young engineers is a pressing concern. How do existing policies and practices cater to their well-being and protect their interests? Specifically, are there standardized wage structures in place for engineering graduates, or are they left to negotiate their salaries based on company demands? Furthermore, do young engineers have confidence in institutional protection, particularly given instances of exploitation where graduates are paid as low as 2,000 cedis? That's number 1. So there's a question before that. Oh, right there. Okay, engineer, which one? How are we encouraging involvement from memberships? Is that what we're, okay. And then the third one, if you scroll up a bit. Says, my name is Elomkosi Haibo, past student of Ho Technical University. My question is about registration for new members. Some of us have tried as much as possible to be registered members, but it seems there's inadequate information about the FGhIE out there. And also the website has to be revised. The big question is, if I want to register as a member of the FGhIE today, how do I go about it? I'll read one more question and then, so that question is actually more than one, but okay, number 2. So, well, it says in the payment voucher for the entry fee included 7, okay, no, never mind. So he spoke about professional development. If I have been working with an HND certificate for about 4 years and applied to FGhIE after acquiring my degree, which is in its first year, am I supposed to still have to practice with a degree for at least 3 years in addition to the HND years of practice before I qualify? I think that is usually spelled out in the, yeah, it's usually spelled out, but I'll still have the president address these quickly.
Yes, very brief. So, members' welfare. I spoke about members' welfare. There has been an update in the welfare policy. Well-being of young engineers. I mentioned that we have the young engineers sitting on council and youth engineering, and then the members' involvement. The issue about, I think there's something that you can answer, and also when you have HND and you get a degree, you don't need to wait for 3 years. It is only 2 years. So I think that is it. Thank you. Yes, maybe talk about the issue about membership. The membership registration. Well, it's on, if you didn't hear it, it's on the portal. So it is easier. Do you want to answer?
Thank you very much. Let me start off with the website. I think Council is working on updating our website and ensuring that it's very more interactive. I think the challenges we've been facing with our website is germane. In terms of membership, we have a membership portal, and beyond that, those of you who are applying, if you go to the website, there is a link for the application. If you're having challenges, the secretariat is always the email address. When you send it to them, they'll respond. Let me say that with the changes that we are making on our website, it will be much more efficient in applying to become a member. So we are sorry that you are having some challenges at the moment, but we'll do our best to improve upon our website going forward. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. So we are left with our last 3 questions. Those 3 questions we'll take from the floor. If there are no questions from the floor, then we'll take those questions online. So 3 questions. Engineer Past President Kalyan.
Again, it's not a question, it's a suggestion because of the questions that have been asked. I think that we should have a routes to membership chart, which shows how you can end up as a professional engineer, technologist, or whatever, depending on where you start from. So it should show all the routes. So if I started from an HND, what steps do I have to take to become a professional engineer? If I start as a craftsman, what do I have to do to become, say, a technician or something? So that chart would answer the questions for people. Thank you.
So I think if I understand where she's coming from, if we could have at a glance some, because we are engineers, we're not lawyers, we don't like to read too many words. Yes, sir.
As has been said over and over again, the world depends on engineering in so many different ways. At the moment, a lot of advances are being made in medicine. And all of them, or most of them, depend on collaboration between medical units and engineering. And that is why even in Imperial College is teamed up with Imperial College, which was definitely for some of us a purely technical engineering institution. They've teamed up with St. Mary's Hospital at Bray Street. So we, as an engineering institution, we need to also look out for that collaboration and make people aware about the importance of engineering through our collaboration with medicine. And that is an area we need to explore. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I think it's one of the things that we've spoken about on the further breakdown of some of the divisions that we have, and it's maybe something that certainly we need to continue talking about and looking at. I was actually at a mining conference recently, and some of these young, we don't like young engineers, some of these future leaders we're saying, you know, for them, a lot of the things that they require to stay in practice are more certifications from their mining sector, and then their membership to the institution does not really open much up for them. So I said to them, okay, we need to start thinking about how we are collaborating with these certification institutes and all that to also hinge their membership into the way we certify them. So these are all conversations that we need to have. Thank you very much for those two fantastic ideas. So question.
No, so this is not a question.
Okay.
It's just a suggestion.
Sure.
Okay, so I penned it down. Let me read. We can all agree that in admission a fund, you need to use smart ways to rejuvenate the fund. Are there plans to set up an investment, sort of a subcommittee, to look at proposing investment prospects to augment the flows into the fund? In other lights, how are we gearing up to take advantage of PPP arrangements as proposed in the, say, educational sector for hostels to help shore up revenue, experience, and participation in nation building? Can we also look at an in-house training center of a sort equipped with state-of-art facilities to train and retrain professionals targeting corporate environments, all in the sense of maximizing revenue? Yep.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I think your questions are three-pronged, almost interlinked, but we'll answer them as well.
Are you allowing it?
Yes, we'll allow you. Then we can have President address these.
Okay, Engineer Bempong, you also, I think, if I heard you right, you said you were doing something regarding conflict resolution. I don't know whether it's a new initiative or is something which is already there, but I heard the conflict resolution issue as a Ghana Institution of Engineering. What does the Engineering Council itself do with regards to conflict resolution? That you also have to come in from your side. Is it an intention to collaborate with the Engineering Council itself when it comes to matters of conflict resolution in engineering practice? That's my question.
Okay. So members, thank you very much. We've had 3 questions from the floor. We are tight on time. However, whilst President is addressing those questions, if there's anything that's pressing, I'll be standing in this corner. Please whisper it into my ear. If it's something that we need to address, we will. If not, we will add it to a list of questions that we will answer at a later time. So at this point, we are calling the question and answer period closed, whilst our President answers the final questions that have been raised.
Past ED, I'm going to ask you to talk about the issue of the management of the fund. That is what we call the FGhIE fund, which Engineer Khalil also raised an issue with. Is there another? The chairman?
The chairman is there.
Okay, chairman. But you are hiding. Because this is an open forum, so you answer. Chief.
The outgoing president is intimidating me. Okay, so the committee has been set up, and maybe I'll just say that all the suggestions which have come up are suggestions things which are under consideration. And the president mentioned Malam Issa. We shall consult. So if anybody has any additional ideas to bring on board, we will take them. But Engineer Cullen, the point you made is clear. That is one of the things which is established. The funds will come in. We will not be using the funds that have come in, but the interest which would have accrued is what will be expended. And we'll be looking at different ways of ensuring that we're able to get more funds coming in and ensure that we are not affected by DDEP or anything like that. Thank you.
Charlie. Okay, thank you very much. And then the issue of the route to membership I think that we even have we already have the route to membership. This is a presentation that we do always, but then what I hear you saying is that we should probably put it up on the website as a chart that you can just look at it, and then you look at the route that you take to whatever desired goal. Okay, go. Yes. Yes, the ADR, please. Basically, what he's asking is that, are we going to collaborate with the Engineering Council to deal with conflicts? But what I'm just simply going to say is that the Engineering Council is not set up to deal with ADR issues. They have specific, and you know, this is in line with Article 819. Okay, 819. Is it article? I was using, it's not article, act. That's why I stopped. Yes, because I knew there was something wrong. Act 819. Okay. Then, so ours, you know, we have various levels of conflict resolution. You can go to court, and even when you go to court, they can ask you to do, you know, some settlement outside the court. ADR is some, but then we want to deal with ADR on engineering related issues. So that is how come we are doing that. And maybe we are setting up a center. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so like Engineer President said, we are setting up a FGhIE ADR center where we'll have engineers resolving conflict issues in construction engineering, what have you. The purpose of this is to give the expertise in engineering. You know, sometimes with this ADR conflict resolution, they go to people who don't have the expertise in engineering. Sometimes the courts refer to us, and we don't have well-trained ADR practitioners. So we are training engineers to be practitioners who work at this ADR center and sit on all these disputes that come. A lot of times these ministries and other governmental agencies, they rely on us a lot to resolve engineering disputes. Even the Attorney General's Department relies on FGhIE a lot to give advice on engineering matters. So this is what we are trying to do. And you know, there are so many ADR centers in this country. Even in Accra, there are a lot of private ADR centers and all that. But we want to focus on engineering disputes and help resolve them.
Thank you.
Okay, I will attempt to.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that where we collaborate has to do with disciplinary issues when practitioners, behave unethically. And in that sense, we and then the FGhIE or whichever institution will collaborate to discipline the person. But when it comes to contractual relationships, that is where we have the ADR issues coming up. So this is the clarification I wanted to give.
Thank you very much. And the last set of 3-in-1 questions, I think that first you're asking the issue about the administration of the fund. I think that has been explained. So it is not something, and of course he also explained it. We are not just going to start using the fund immediately it comes in. It has to go through a process, and there's going to be a separate management of that fund. Then the issue about investment. Yes, the fund can decide to invest in whatever they want to do, whether it's the PPP, it is whatever, so that is left to them to do. And then, I think that is basically what you talked about in terms of whether we are providing hostels, anything that would help, that is something that we will do. And then, looking at the in-house training center, it is very good. We're already doing training here, but I believe that, I don't know whether you are aware, but then if you are not aware, then we are doing something. But if you want us to step it up, by all means, please, this is something good. But then eventually, when Asin Koshia is finished, it's going to be marvelous. We'll go and spend some time there and do training. Okay. And I think that's about, yes. Then there was also Asin Koshia. what I showed you is just a teaser. We brought to you some initial proposals. Now that we have developed the document, we will come back to you as the institution, and then you have your input. Because you can see, you don't even see floor plans. This is still dreaming. But once we put things on the ground, start looking at plans, floor plans, then we'll be getting somewhere. And that is where you say, no, why don't you add this one to it? This is just to, and I know, I do these things to make a deal. Once somebody sees it and he says that, based on what I've seen, I want to take that particular entrance gate. And please, if you are interested in doing the entrance gate, see me after this. Because we need to, you see, in land administration, you need to take possession. It's just like marriage. You see, if you don't consummate it, there's no marriage. So let us go and consummate the land. And once you consummate the land, we have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And on that note, we've come to the end of our State of the Institution address, beautifully delivered by the president of the institution. I know we all have additional questions, thoughts, comments, contributions. I hope we are all registered for this year's conference and AGM. If we haven't, I encourage you to please register for the upcoming conference and AGM happening in March, from 24th of March till the 29th of March. We're giving you that full schedule. And at the AGM, there'll be several discussions. I know there have been questions raised about welfare. There's going to be discussions on all of that. So I encourage all of us to register and attend the conference. And you would have a lot of your questions, a lot of your comments raised there as well. So thank you very much. At this point, we are far spent in our time. So I'd like to call on Engineer Miriam Amponsa to give us the vote of thanks. You will not be seeing me after this. After she's given the vote of thanks, we would ask everyone to stand, and the president and council, past presidents, and all our invited guests will then also exit the room. So after our vote of thanks, we have come to the close of today's program. We will take photographs. So we would ask after the vote of thanks, we will ask the president to come up stage, and all members will join with the council and past presidents so we can take a group photograph as well. Thank you very much. And thanks for joining. For those online, we're grateful for your participation as well.
Thank you. Mr. President, Mr. President-elect, the Executive Director, Council members, distinguished fellows, members of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, our esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, this evening, we have come together as one professional family. When we come together, we make progress. It is therefore an honor for me to extend our heartfelt appreciation to all who have contributed to the success of this important gathering. First and foremost, we say Aiko to our president, Engineer Kwabena Bempong, for delivering a powerful and inspiring State of the Institution address. Your vision and leadership continue to guide us as we chart the course for engineering excellence in Ghana at our sake. To Engineer Joseph Ode for the warm welcome, and Engineer Nana Ikuya Brenya Boateng for the gracious introduction of the president, we say a heartfelt medase. To our outstanding Master of Ceremonies, Engineer Ya Okujeto, Waye Ejumaden Pa. You have worked so hard. Your poise and skill in steering this program have been commendable. To our distinguished guests and all esteemed members present, both in person and online, Mboni Ejuma, your presence and engagement reaffirm our collective commitment to engineering and national development. Your thoughtful questions and contributions enrich our discourse, and we appreciate you all. A special appreciation goes to our organizing team, technical crew, and support staff. Just like the unsung heroes in every successful project, your behind-the-scenes dedication has ensured a seamless event. God richly bless you. Finally, to our cherished audience, Mema Munyansa, Adjunipa ne Nkoso. May wisdom, good judgment, and progress be with you. Let us continue to uplift and transform engineering in Ghana, because as we say in Akan, Tikro inko ejina. One head does not hold counsel alone. We must work together to build a stronger, innovative, and resilient institution. Medamu nyinaa say, thank you all, and may you travel safely home.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have been reminded that we started with a prayer. We started with a prayer, and it's only right that we close with a prayer. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we please say a very quick prayer? Father, we're thankful for today's program. We started committing this into your hands, asking that you'd be in our presence, and true to your word, you have been in our presence. We're thankful for the delivery of the state of the institution addressed by our president. May all the points that have been raised stick with us. May we go back to our homes thinking about the state of our current institution and how we can add up to who we are, where we want the institution to end up. We pray that more members feel the need to make their voices heard and join in the engagement of this institution. We ask for traveling mercies for everyone who's here. In Jesus' name have I prayed. Amen. Please, photography time. Those online want to join in the photography, so please, you can actually keep the you can keep the what's it called? The background with they can open up their videos. Please, if you're in your bedroom, you can close off your cameras. For those who are joining us elsewhere, we actually want to see your faces. So please turn on your cameras. We'll take the picture with you in the background. I see Engineer Gabriel Emisa has his FGhIE cloth on. Everyone who's joining us online, please join us. You can turn on your cameras so we can add you to the photography as well. Yes, please come up. Members, you can come up stage and join in the picture as well. We need your and Engineer Naki, we need your beautiful faces in the Engineer Benedicta. I forgot. It's not too late. Whilst we're taking the pictures, I want to remind those who haven't scanned their registration to today's event. There's a QR code. It will be passed at the exit, so you can scan on your way out just to show that you were here. And those of you who were online, there was a link to click on. Please click on that link and ensure that you've registered. Please smile. We're too quiet. Well, online participants are smart. Cheese. Yes. Is it just one? Okay, so there are a couple of the QR codes scattered around. So please scan on your way out. Thank you all very much for coming. Did it work? Yeah. Reception. Wait, the overflow. And the social
Engineer
setting.
Elsie Kaufman, I can see you.
There's some refreshments downstairs, so please join us downstairs for a quick refreshment.
I want my refreshment.
But I was so happy to see you. I said, hey, wow.
Wow. Happy to see Engineer Professor Elsie Kaufman. Hi.
Hi.
Wow, happy to see you.
I couldn't make it in person. All right. Have a good evening, all.
Yo, thank you. Same to you.
Have a good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.